So these are the second part of the notes, or you can say page number 2 of the notes that we started earlier. Today you are actually learning how to write quadratic equations when you are given a vertex and another point. Again, you are learning how to write quadratic equations or functions when you are given a vertex and another point on the graph. So it's gonna be some steps and we should be able to do them easily. So you have to stay really organized and you have to use very specific numbers as well. Also, you will be needing your reference chart for sure so that you actually can know the equation. So this section at the bottom is quadratic equations. You have standard form, which is f of x or y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And then you know, if you see over here, you have a vertex form. Vertex form is f of x, or I can say y equals a parentheses x minus h whole squared plus k. This is your vertex form. Again, one more time. It is y equals a times x minus h whole squared plus k. So this is my vertex form. So you do not have to memorize this equation. It is given to you. So you just have to know how to use it. Blank can be used to represent a quadratic function whenever its vertex and another point on the graph are known. Again, very straightforward. Vertex form of quadratic, I'm just going to write this. Vertex form of quadratics can be used to represent a quadratic function whenever its vertex and another point on a graph is given. Why do we use it? Because I know the vertex. If you remember, vertex is that highest. So this is the highest, or vertex is that lowest point of that quadratic function. So it's either the highest or the lowest point of that equation. Now, since it's a point, so you should have it as an order pair, x comma y. You have both values, but it is not written as x comma y. It is written as h comma k. That's where these h and k came from. It is h comma k. So your vertex is not x comma y because they were already taken. Your vertex is h comma k. So that x and y, basically x represents the h value and y represents the k value. That is how it goes. Vertex is h comma k. Your order pairs are x comma y, where x represents h and y represents k. That's how the vertex go. And any point is x comma y, so that's obvious. Your steps are actually quite long. They're not very technical, but they're long. Step number 1, we identify h and k. Step number 2, we identify x and y. And then we plug in x, y, h, k in their respective letters. So y, x, h, k. They will be replaced by their number values. So 4 of these letters are placed. That leaves you with a. You do not have a. So after replacing or plugging in all the numbers, what you do is you simplify the equation. You make it smaller, cleaner, where you actually have a two-step equation, so you are able to solve for a. So you simplify and solve for a. That's your next step, step number 4. So you identify hk, identify x, y, you plug in everything, and then you simplify and solve. Once you're done, you have that equation written in the vertex form. Again, you are able to actually use your Desmos calculator just to check your answer. Your equations should match. They should overlap, and also your vertex should be what is given to you in the question. So if I put the equation, this one in the calculator, I should have this vertex If I don't have it, that means I made a mistake somewhere. All right, so let's try it. I'm gonna solve one question and then you definitely solve the other one. You are going to stay organized. Well, you have to stay organized so that you don't mess up. It says write the quadratic function in vertex form that the vertex has that has the vertex at -3, 2 and passes through the point 1, 14. I need the equation written in the vertex form. So first thing I do is I copy down the vertex form from my reference chart. So I have it in front of me, and all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy down that equation. So that's the equation I'm gonna copy on my paper. Y equals, since I'm gonna be solving it, y equals ax minus h whole squared plus k. I have it. Now I am going to use the side space to write some letters. Vertex was given to me as -3, 2. That means h is -3 and k is +2. This is your h and k. This is my vertex, and my point was given to me as -1, 14. So x value is -1 and y value was +14. All right. I have my numbers. All I'm gonna do is I am going to simply plug back in. So y is 14, so I'm gonna write 14 over here, equals, if you notice, you have h, k, x, and y. You do not have a. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna copy down the a because you do not know what a is. In x, it is a -1. So in x, plug in -1. This minus is from the formula, so you put that minus down. And then h, since there was a minus, so I'm gonna put the h value, which is -3 inside parentheses. You always substitute inside of parentheses when it's a negative. And close the big parentheses, and then squared goes on the top. This is what h was, plus k is +2. So I replaced all the values. So first step, identify. Second step, so step number 1, identify. Step number 2, plug in. Step number 3, solve. Well, simplify and solve. Solve for a. And then number 4, you have the equation. Well, I think I went fast on my steps. Well, identify, I just combine these two. They could be, these two could be together. Identify and identify. All right, you have to apply the PEMDAS over here, and PEMDAS means this whole squared. First of all, it should be -1 minus is a plus. It should be written like that. That was the whole reason that I had it written in the parentheses, so I don't mess up this +3. It's gonna be changed. This is correct now. I have +3. And then whole squared mean these two things are multiplied twice by themselves. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that multiplication at the bottom. I'm not gonna be doing the multiplication and putting the numbers over there. So what I'm doing is I have that -3 plus 3 whole squared, which is -1. Well, -1 plus 3, solve the parentheses inside first. So -1 plus 3 is, what is it? 2. I lost my thought. Positive 2. It is positive 2 whole squared. 3 minus 1 is 2. And then 2 squared is basically 4. So it's equals to 4. So that is equals to 4. So 14 equals A. This is 4 plus 2. I have it. Now this is a two-step equation. So first step I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract. I need to find A. A is question mark. So first thing I do is I subtract 2 on both sides. 2 minus 2 is cancel out. That's why I did the opposite. 14 minus 2 is 12. Equals A dot 4, because parentheses means multiply. Now the next step is you divide by 4 on both sides. 4 cancels 4. 1, and then 12 divided by 4 is 3. So A is equals to 3. I have the A value, and now all I'm going to do is I'm going to write the equation. Y is equals to A, and I think I have to write it as, yeah, I have to replace everything. A, and then X is -1 plus 3 whole squared plus 2. So this is your final answer. You should be able to do the next question on your own. Follow the steps and you should be fine. It's not too technical. It's just requires some organization. That's it. All right, the next part of the equation, we are converting to standard form. Now, if you remember, you have different type of equations when it comes to quadratic as well. Back on your reference chart, you have standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. Oh, we are talking about quadratics here. Ax squared plus bx plus c. So look, don't make that mistake. We are not talking about linear. We are talking about quadratics. So standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. And vertex form is this one, y equals ax minus h whole squared plus k. So I have to convert to standard form, so I have some steps. So vertex from standard, I have the equation given in the vertex. I have to apply some math. I do FOIL method. I write the equation, I do FOIL method, multiply, distribute, and then combine the like terms, and I should have the answer. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do over here. Again, they are called equivalent expressions. So if you're stuck, you are unable to do, you can use the calculator to see your answer, whether you did it correctly or not, or even simply to get the answer. So y equals -2x plus 5 whole squared minus 9. Your first step is it's PEMDAS. I have to solve parentheses, but in parentheses, inside of parentheses is x plus 5. I cannot add those. But outside of parentheses is a square, so I have to deal with that exponent first. So I have to expand that x plus 5. And that would be something like x plus 5 multiplied by x plus 5. Now, if you're using the loops method, it's easier, but if you're using the box method, you should be able to use the box method as well, and the answer will remain the same. So x multiplied by x is x multiplied by x is x squared. X times 5 is positive 5x. X times 5 is positive 5x, and then 5 times 5 is 25. These two terms are same, so I'm going to have x squared plus 10x plus 25 this is what I have that goes in here. So y equals negative 2 x squared plus 10x plus 25 minus 9. Now you have an outside number that needs to be multiplied by these numbers, so you're just going to multiply that. This multiplied negative 2x squared times x squared is negative 2x squared. You multiply this, negative 2 times positive 10 is negative 20x. And then you multiply negative 2 by 25 positive is minus 50. So you multiplied all of this, you got new numbers, which is basically double and opposite in minus 9. I have to copy this down as well. And then I'm almost done. It's negative 2x squared, there's nothing to add or subtract. Minus 20x, there's nothing to add or subtract. But these two, if you notice, are the like terms, which is negative 50 minus 9 is minus 59. So this is my equation. So this process, I would recommend you to do it on the side and don't mix up in your equation. I should have done it on the sides as well. And then you will have the equation which is like that. Now in order to check, in Desmos, what you are going to do is you are going to type that equation in the calculator and type this equation in the calculator. They should overlap. So type your question, type your answer, and you should have an overlapping graph. And this way you will know that your calculations are correct and you did not make a mistake. You have one more question over here that you have to do. And you should be able to do this one easily, number 4. I'm going to help you with number 5, which is now I'm putting both of these things together. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the equation in the vertex form. And once I have the equation written in the vertex form, I will actually write it back in the standard. So the steps is going to be like that. I'm going to start, first I'm going to write the equation in the vertex form. And from there, I'm going to convert it to standard form. It is going to take a few minutes because you just started learning, but it should be fine. Question number 5. Write a quadratic function in standard form that has a vertex at 5, 2 and passes through the point which is 9, negative 46. Sorry. So first thing you actually have to pay attention to, number 1, you need a quadratic function equation. So make sure you have a quadratic function equation. And you have to write it in the standard form, and you're provided a vertex and a point. So always go back and refer to your reference chart because all the equations and formulas are provided over here. So I'm going to use this quadratic equation section, which is at the bottom. So what they're saying, they want the equation to be written as standard form. So they want the equation as ax squared plus bx plus c. They want the equation in this format. And then since I have a vertex and a point provided, so I have to use the vertex form because it's obvious and it's clear that I have the vertex and a point, so I have to use this equation first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that equation and I'm going to write it down. F of x is basically y, so I'm going to write as y equals a parentheses x minus h whole squared plus k. So this is my vertex form equation. Your vertex that is given to you is 5, 2. This is h, k. So all I have to do is replace h and k. And then the point that is provided to you is 9 comma negative 46. This is basically x comma y. So I'm just going to replace the values and figure out what the a is, because that's what I'm going to calculate. So y is negative 46. I do not know a, so it needs to go like that. K minus h whole square. So x is 9. Minus from the formula, h is positive 5. So I'm just going to leave it alone like that. A whole squared plus k, which is 2. So I plugged in all the numbers and carefully checked them. They are correct. All right, let's solve. So first step, you plug in. So this one was plug in. This one was identify. And this one is basically simplify first. How do you spell simplify? Simplify. Okay. 9 minus 5 is a 4 whole squared plus 2. All I'm doing is PEMDAS, by the way. 4 square is 16 plus 2. So this is simplify. Now I have to solve for a because a is missing. So in order to solve for a, first step I'm going to do is subtract 2 on both sides. 2 minus 2 is a 0. Negative 46 minus 2 is a negative 48 equals a dot 16. Notice I just got rid of that parentheses because I don't need them. I need to find the a, so I divide by 16 on both sides. And a is basically 48 divided by 16. Negative 3. Yes, it would be negative 3. So I have the a value. All right, I have the a value. I'm going to plug it back in my equation, which is in Vertex form, and then rewrite to standard because I'm not done yet. So if I'm rewriting it, I'm running out of space. I'm going to use this area to write the equation. It is y equals negative. Okay, let me do this way. I'm going to first copy the equation and then replace the numbers. So y equals negative 3. X is x is x minus h is 5 in squared plus k is 2. So this is what I'm going to use in order to write my equation in standard form, which should have x's in them. That's why I never replaced the x. So let's do the math here. First thing you do is this needs to be squared. So y equals negative 3. I'm going to open like that. X minus 5. That's how you do the square. Plus 2. So first I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the inside of these square brackets. X times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Negative 5x here. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. I got my numbers. I still have to combine these two. This should be x squared minus 10x plus 25 plus 2. All I'm doing is PEMDAS. Now I have to multiply these. Minus 3x squared. Negative 3 multiplied by negative 10 is plus 30x. Negative 3 times positive 25 is negative 75. So all this multiplication is done. Remember, this is a plus 2, so that's separate. Just copy it down. This needs to be combined because you have two set of numbers. So your final answer is y equals negative 3x squared plus 30x minus 73. And that's my equation written in standard form. So it's a very long process. It's not very technical, but it's just very procedural. So follow the steps, copy from what I have on example number 4, and practice again on example number 6.